climate change is no longer a distant threat. It's happening now. Glaciers are melting, droughts are deepening, and extreme weather is becoming the norm. Our natural resources are under strain, fast depleting and close to exhaustion. There is a clear need of making a transition to renewable sources of energy, which in turn dramatically help reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And that is why across India, scientists, innovators and entrepreneurs are rising to the challenge, developing clean tech solutions that promise to accelerate progress towards India's climate and economic development goals. India has set ambitious targets: energy self-reliance by 2047, net zero by 2070, and a 45% cut in emissions intensity by 2030. Achieving this demands bold innovation, especially from clean tech innovators. With a target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy within 5 years, it has never been more critical to invest in green solutions. And venture capital must step up to support this growing ecosystem by providing funding, mentorship, and market access. This is where alliances like the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet come in. By bringing together shared expertise, resources, and ambition, GEAPP enables inclusive and fast-track clean energy transitions across borders and sectors. In India, GEAPP's flagship initiative, the Energy Transitions Innovation Challenge, or NTICE, is creating a fertile ground for clean tech innovation and investment. Early-stage innovators with funding, mentorship, and market access, bridging the critical gap between ideas and impact. At the GEAPP Organized Alliance and Action convening event last month, the second edition of NTICE was the focal point as multiple stakeholders, from innovators and policymakers to investors and utility providers, came together to advance India's clean energy transition. A day before the event, NDTV sat down with GEAPP CEO Woo Chong to talk about Alliance and Action, convening and green energy solution. With us in the NDTV studios now is Mr. Woo Chong CEO of GEAPP, or the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. It's really a pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Thank you so much for coming to NDTV. But to begin with, I want to dive in, to something what you have described, alliances as tugboats that can steer large systems towards change. Now tell us, how does GEAPP embody this idea, and what difference do you hope it can make or bring about when we're talking about the global energy transition?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today. The development is a very important work that we all have to participate in. And that's because there are a lot of poor people around the world who are still striving to be more prosperous. And at the same time, there's a climate change that's happening. So the two issues have to be handled together. So for many years, the development partners, like the multilateral development banks and the bilaterals, private sector, have all been working very well within themselves from their angle. But when you look at the total number, in terms of are we making a real difference in terms of reducing poverty, we're not there yet. So the philanthropies that I joined a year ago, we feel that we can play a role in making sure that all of the players in the development space can work together as one team, whether you're philanthropies, the development banks, the private banks and private sector, so that we can move as a whole. So the tugboat analogy is that the existing players they've been around for 60, 70 years are by nature risk averse. So they're very good at investing in projects and programs which they know best. But for us to address the climate change and poverty at the same time, you do need to go into innovative approaches, which means by definition it's more risky. So that's where we come in as a tugboat, which is helping to bring these large, big engines, which are the existing players, to be able to go to places where they could not go before. But that means that there's got to be communication and collaboration across different sectors, whether it's philanthropies and public and private, so that we know each other's strengths and weaknesses and we can cover each other.
So you're ensuring that it reaches all, like, filling in the gaps so that they actually can reach to where it's needed the most. And you'd also spoken about the finances. Wuchang, I want to ask you, when we talk about, when we're talking about the access to climate finance, you also spoke about climate change. This does remain as a barrier to many emerging economies, even many countries still. Yet we also know that energy transition, needs more than just funding. It's just not about money and funds here. So how do we drive meaningful change while also ensuring that, these barriers are effectively overcome?
Yeah, clearly money is needed
Yes.
to develop, but for that money to flow, you need that right environment, which is including the environment that's the regulatory environment that's conducive for investments to flow into different countries and regions. We also need the absorptive capacity of the local entities to be able to take the money and then use it and put it in the right use. And most importantly, you need bankable projects. So we need to do a lot of work in terms of moving the projects from blueprint concepts into bankability so that money can come in and flow out with investment. So many players have to work together again. Different players in the alliance need to work together and play their role.
Yeah, play the role. That's why I think rightly what you said, the stakeholders need to come together. So we've spoken about money, we've spoken about how awareness is needing. Just moving forward, I want to ask you specifically about India. As India as a country today, we are emerging as a hub of innovation. Now, in your view, are there any elements or approaches in the global climate innovation ecosystem that India, our country, could take inspiration to strengthen this drive? What are your thoughts on that?
I hear so much about the advanced capacity of the Indian population, and until you come here, you don't really feel that until you actually come here and see it. And I walk around and see people. I just see so many people who are capable and smart, basically, and innovative thinkers. So I feel comfortable that this is a place where innovation can grow. But you need that eco space for the innovators to thrive. So that's one of the things that we are trying to do, to create a platform where the innovators can come in and make their pitch with their new idea, and then see if you can actually bring them, innovators, with investors, and also mentors from more seasoned professionals to be able to guide them from lessons learned. So that
entire ecosystem
is needed so that they can grow and the innovators can be encouraged to participate and see the real fruits kind of come out of it.
Yeah. So it's not, grow together, thrive together, I think, then working together, like you rightly said initially as well. I want to talk, Mr. about, one of your flagship programs, which is called ENTICE. It's the Energy Transitions Innovation Challenge. Now, tell us a little bit, what makes ENTICE different from a typical startup? Even if we talk about startups, we know the challenges. What makes your challenges different? How does it go beyond just awards? How do you support and scale young ventures and also ensure that, what is needed, they get that the most? And looking ahead, what does the true success for ENTICE look to you?
Yeah, so what's unique about this is that we start off the ENTICE program with a vision. We make sure that everybody understands why we are doing this, which is why. It's because we want to improve the lives of the people today, us, and also the lives of the people of the future generations. So that's the planet. You need a planet to be able to have our next generation to be thriving. So with that in mind, everyone's looking to see how to solve the problem of providing sustainable electricity energy to the poor people without destroying the planet. There are plenty of the innovative technologies out there, especially in the developed world, but also this ENTICE program is encouraging the local innovators to adopt whatever is out in the other parts of the world and let it develop it on the ground, in the own eco space, so that's perfectly fit for the environment that we have. And it's incredible because we have such an big interest coming from many innovators. And again, that's a proof that India does have very, very vibrant population with innovative thinking.
Yes. Lastly, I want to ask you on a personal note, you've spoken about India, you've spoken about the innovative minds here, but the vibrancy here. What keeps you optimistic about India's entrepreneurs and the larger climate innovation here, the landscape when we talk about? Your personal thought here.
Well, India is a place you can actually see the impacts of the climate change. So people are feeling it, and you have the population that's innovative, educated, and risk-taking, so that you can move the needle in the right direction, doing new things. The people are just, I think the DNA of Indians are innovative.
So good to hear that.
Right,
Yeah.
and the future looks really bright. And also you do have quite a resource of young population, which is not always the case.
Country, yeah.
Right, which is not always the case in other parts of the world. So very optimistic.
It's really good to hear that. Thank you so much for speaking to us and coming to our studio. We've been talking with Mr. Woochong about NTICE, the Energy Transitions Innovation Challenge, GEAPP's flagship program that helps bridge the funding gap between investors and India's climate startup ecosystem. These are the clean tech solutions that have a pivotal role to play in India realizing its energy self-reliance and net zero goals. Here is a look at how NTICE began its engagement and impact and who the winners are of this year's edition, NTICE 2.0. 2 years ago, GEAPP hosted the Energy Transition Dialogues with the theme Advancing People-Positive Energy Transition in India and the World. This is where, in presence of India's G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, the first edition of NTICE awarded 4 promising innovators poised to drive real progress towards net zero.
There were lots of learnings from the first edition, and one of the key learnings is that you just can't complete a challenge, give them a prize, and then shake hands and go away. I think a lot more needs to be done from an idea conception right up to its maturity. So what we have now going to do, the 4 startups that have been selected by the jury, we will work with them, and also Jaipur Discom has been very kind in being our partner. We will give them live data, real life situations, and then help them fine-tune their techno-commercial digital model into a reality.
GEAPP's ethos is about collaboration and it's about partnerships. And we realized that we need a platform like NTICE, which brings different stakeholders, whether it is innovators, investors, philanthropies, the government, to come together and really create this ecosystem in a hard-to-abate sector. So climate investment doesn't really happen easy, right? I mean, we still don't get the money into the sector. And when we did a research, a dipstick, we realized that investment into the climate sector stands somewhere in the 9th rank in the scheme of things. And this is where we realized that we had an opportunity where we could get this alliancing going, and therefore NTICE 1.0 was born in 2023.
In its inaugural year, NTICE made significant strides in terms of its engagement and impact. The initiative engaged over 30 partners in India, introducing the teams to over 20 investors, creating a robust network of venture capitalists, industry leaders, and stakeholders. One of the innovators, Ampere Hour Energy, as part of a consortium with IndiGrid, won the public bid to install GEAPP's battery energy storage systems pilot project in New Delhi. Another innovator, RE Connect Energy, aggregates over 500 megawatt of energy, is scalable and aims for 100 megawatt capacity in the next 2 years. This year, NTICE 2.0 built on that momentum, incentivizing innovations at scale for energy transition by leveraging the expertise of investors and investees alike. The second edition focused on 2 problem statements. The first, developing AI tools to analyze behind-the-meter BTM energy consumption patterns and create digital twins of appliances. Secondly, using AI to analyze smart meter data, identify large-scale flexible assets, and detect inefficiencies in industrial energy use. What was significant was that the event also witnessed the signing of several MOUs that will help scale these innovations, unlocking catalytic capital and taking innovative solution from prototype to production. On the other side of the break, we revealed the 4 winning innovations of NTICE 2.0 that could help reshape India's energy future. From over 130 applicants, just 12 teams were shortlisted for the GEAPP Energy Transitions Innovation Challenge or ENTICE 2.0. Now it's time to meet the 4 winning innovations of ENTICE 2.0. The ideas that stood out for their potential to accelerate India's clean energy journey.
And the first winner of this challenge is Nlog. Congratulations, team Nlog.
At Nlog, we are trying to make the energy intelligence accessible to everyone. Like every business is paying the electricity bill, so why don't they have the access to technology?
Since the demand is always going to be more than the generation level, so energy needs to be more efficiently used and wastage needs to be as minimal as possible. So our solution particularly ensures that itself.
The second winner is Flock Energy.
The idea behind our innovation is pretty simple. We believe that in the energy climate dialogue, consumers have been the missing link. And for us to really scale the efforts in the energy climate domain, we need to bring consumers towards the center.
And the first winner for this challenge is Trilectric.
For us, this has been a very smooth journey. Here we could actually get introduced to a new kind of an asset class. This challenge has really pushed us. We were not really looking at this for at least next few months. Because of this challenge, we are actually evolving.
The second winner for this challenge is Faclan Labs.
The innovation that we are bringing to table is primarily a platform which is rich and has capability of integrating all the data coming from grid as well as from local household, which can be analyzed, and hence we can provide very valuable insights to DISCOM.
This platform has quite a lot of scale. I mean, the jury members and the cohort engage with a lot of experts from the industry. So I believe this platform is the right approach.
The event wasn't just a competition, it was a platform for clean tech to meet capital and for ideas to meet opportunity, which opened doors for the winning innovators. In search for the best innovations, the jury for this year's edition was on a lookout for ideas that were scalable as well as impactful.
As we think about future resilience and securing our nation and securing our national priorities, energy does become very important. And in that, I think at Entice, every year there is a certain problem statement that you get startups and founders to work with. And this was very interesting. Before and after smart meters, how does it really work?
So for us, the concept of working with Entice is about finding a platform that wasn't just trying to provide a general connect and an award ceremony for startups, but to actually connect them with getting use cases going. So having the DISCOMs here, having the partnerships that they can actually generate in the energy value chain can unlock and prove the concept of do these business models work and allow them to actually get to a much greater scale than any other model.
So I think one thing that really struck me was the quality of the applications. The amount of pilots and the amount of legwork that these companies had done to refine their value proposition from just an idea to actually scaling it up. So I think GEAPP and the Entice 2.0 team has done a fantastic job of bringing together essentially solutions that may not normally attract venture capital, but they've given them, the wings and the capability to have access to DISCOMs, and because the entire sort of crux behind this whole problem is how to digitalize the grid. When there is a partner as supportive as GEAPP, who is able to provide a patient capital, ability to test and retest solutions, and not have that pressure of consistent growth that you normally find in venture capital. Some of these solutions that are a little bit harder to scale in a normal, I would say, journey of a VC funded startup have the capability to try and test in a sandbox environment with the support of a wider industry group like GEAPP. And I think those doors that are opening for these companies is just phenomenal.
The pursuit of Entice was made possible through the investors who chose to support the winning solutions and scale them for impact.
We could not be more thrilled because Entice 2.0 ties and GEAPP in their mission are incredibly aligned with what we are all about, because we are off funds. We are actually investing in just and equitable climate action, which is not just mitigation but also adaptation, and it's not very often that you find like-minded people. So what Entice is trying to do in terms of promoting a just and equitable transition for climate challenges is perfectly in sync with what we are trying to do.
This was a great set of 12 panel companies. We had a tough time choosing which one should win. And what I want to say is that if you step back, what is the big objective on this is the digitization both behind the meter and for the grid will fundamentally transform the way energy sector is operated over the next 5-10 years. India, with its talent pool of digital and startups, has a unique opportunity to shape this first in India and then for 124 countries.
Climate change is the defining challenge of our time, and it needs urgent solutions, from labs to local communities and from boardrooms to rooftops. Alliance in Action Convening and Entice 2.0 show what's possible when the gap is bridged between ideas and investment, and when partnerships are formed, a change for the better.